Hey guys, welcome back. Today is just going to be a chit chat, get ready with me, but it does have a larger purpose. A very good friend of mine, Ashley, just recently lost everything that she owns in a house fire. The fire started around 5 in the morning while Ashley and her 2 kids were sleeping. Thankfully, they had smoke detectors installed, and her older daughter, Madison, who is 8, heard the smoke detectors going off and managed to get her younger brother, who is just about 6, and her mum out of the house. Thankfully, nobody was injured, but they did lose everything that they own. So she is having to start over from scratch, and I am going to link the GoFundMe page for her down below. And if, I know it's a tough season, but if you are able to donate any amount, it would make the world a difference to her and her kids, especially at this time of year. They had just put their Christmas tree up the night before the fire. She had already decorated all of their rooms, and they lost everything. And so if there's any way that you can help, please consider doing so, because I know that it will not go unappreciated. And she's got lovely kids too. Like, they're just such good children, and they've got these amazing hearts in them. So I want to share the information so that if we can help, there it is. So I did ask Ashley before I did this video if it was okay with her if I shared her story and the GoFundMe page. And she is very grateful for any donations that anybody makes. So she is quite happy for me to do this video. So for my part, in order to translate this into a video that isn't just, please go help my friend, what I thought I would do was really look at my collection and pick out the items that I would repurchase first if I was to lose my entire collection. Some items were easier than others. So I didn't really look in terms of the price tag of things. Like, I didn't say, okay, I've only got like $75 to spend, what could I get? I really just picked like, what's the top 10 makeup items, what's the top 3 eye brushes, and what's the top 3 face brushes, and just went through it that way. And really what my focus was on was functionality. What would I really need to be as versatile as possible while still being very functional and allow me to wear it every day kind of deal. I don't think I'm describing that properly, but it wasn't like, what's my favorite palette, let's replace that. It was more so, what palette affords me a variety of options? What can I do away with? What do I really need for my own sense of looking niceness? So I'm rambling at this point, so let's just do this. For the purpose of this video, I didn't include any skincare items. There's no moisturizer or anything like that, so I'm just going to skip straight to primer. This should come as no surprise because I talk about it all the time. It is the Becca Velvet Blurring Primer Perfecting Base. And I just really like this. It has a little bit of a tint in it. So, and it's quite liquidy. You can see it running around on my hand there. But once you apply it to your skin, it really starts to feel like powder without looking like powder. And because it's got just this little bit of a tint, I find that it also just helps to sort of mask any minor imperfections or discoloration, anything like that. And I do often wear this just on its own because it does have that nice blurring effect to it as well. So on an everyday basis, I don't tend to wear foundation, but I do like this one just to blur things out and make it look just a little bit more perfected. So because I don't wear foundation on an everyday basis, I haven't included it in my 10 things to replace. But as I've said before, I cannot leave my house without concealer. It's just a non-negotiable for me. And the concealer that I love more than any other concealer in my collection is from Jouer, and it is the Essential High Coverage Liquid Concealer. And I like this on full face of makeup days, and I like it on low makeup days as well, because it really does help to cover up what it needs to cover up. And I find that it is quite, I don't want to say moisturizing because I don't think it necessarily adds moisture, but it's not, it doesn't look cakey when it dries down. It doesn't get crepey, it's not too thick, it's just perfect. I don't know how to describe it, it really just is. It lasts all day. It doesn't bunch up. It doesn't crease. It doesn't look crepey or anything like that once it dries down. It's just a fantastic concealer. First face brush that I would replace is the Morphe G6, or at least a brush that looks like this. This one, it's dying. Like, it's done. I've had it for about 3 years, so I'm not really all that surprised by it. I did order a brush very similar to this shape, I think from Sigma, during the Black Friday. I bought so much stuff that I can't remember where I bought things from. So once I receive that, this one will be retired with honors, but I really do like the shape of this one, and I actually really do like this brush. I find Morphe's a little bit hit or miss, but this one has been a winner up until very recently. But after 3 years, it's had daily use. It's okay. It's earned its keep. Because I'm not going to include an eyelid primer in here, I'm just going to use whatever's left over on the brush and just run that over my eyelids as well. Another nice thing with this brush is that it is big enough that if I did have foundation, I could use this with foundation. On an everyday basis, I would set that concealer with a loose powder, but powder didn't make its way into my top 10 things to replace. So I don't need to set it. It's just a typical habit, and it's like a crutch, like I feel like I have to. But with this concealer, you really don't need to. So, moving right along. So now I'm kind of cheating a little bit, because for contour, highlight, blush, bronzer, I can find it all in one item. So I would definitely pick this one up. This is the Smashbox Calli Contour Kit, and it comes with the items that you see in there. A loose powder did not make its way, as I said, but I could use this powder here. It's a matte, sort of yellowish, kind of creamish color. And then I have the contour, the bronzer, I have a choice of highlighters here, and then a very neutral blush that's going to go with any look. I'm also cheating in that I picked a dual-ended brush to replace. This one is from Kat Von D. It's the Shade and Light brush. I picked it specifically because it's dual-ended, and then I get the best of both worlds, so I can use this end for blush and even bronzer, and then contour over here. And also because it's so small, I could set my concealer using that. And in fact, maybe I will just go ahead and do that because it's a compulsion. Oh, my hair. Because I don't have foundation on, I don't really need a ton of contouring, but I like the extra dimension that it gives and the false sense of security that some of my chins are hidden. For highlight, the brush that I would replace is this one from Wet n Wild. It's the P75, and it's just a nice, fluffy, tapered brush that I use pretty much every day. I used to use a fan brush, but I like this one because it's not as specific in its placement, I guess would be the word. I can just get a more natural look using this one. For eyeshadow, I really had to hem and haw, like really had to look and really think about what palette would bring the most to the table if I only had that palette to rely on. And ultimately the palette that I chose is from Urban Decay, and it's the Born to Run palette. I like this one because there's just a ton of different directions you can go with it. There's a mix of mattes and shimmers. The only thing it's missing really are cool tone shadows, but for just starting off a collection, I think this would be a very good starting point, and I could live without the cooler shadows. If I really wanted a cooler brown, then I could look to the contour shade that's in the Calli contour set, and I could use these as complementary eyeshadows as well. So then there are 3 eye brushes that I chose. that I think the shape of them lends themselves to doing everything that I need to do when I'm doing a full eye look. So for starters, I have the E40 from Sigma. It's just a really nice fluffy blending brush, if it'll focus. There we go. So this is great for putting shadows into the transition area, and it's also really great for just overall blending of shadows together. So this is one that I use all the time. Then I also have one from Volair. It is the E03. And it kind of reminds me of the 217 from MAC, just in terms of its shape. But this one's just a little bit softer, a little bit more pliable. I can use this in the crease. I can use it as a lid brush. It's just very versatile in that sense. And then finally from MAC, I have the 221. And it's not really a pencil brush, but it's sort of like an elongated pencil. Still has some flexibility, but it's nice and tapered, so this is great for the outer corner and also for under the lower lashes. So for the eyes, when I started, I used this shade here called Still Shot and used the E40 brush and just picked that up and put it into the transition area. Then I used that Volair brush and the shade Hellride, which is this matte purple over here, and put that into the crease and to the outer half, I suppose, of the lid. Then I use the E40 again to blend where those two shadows meet. Then just using my finger, I picked up some of this shade here called Stranded and just patted that onto the inner portion of my eyelid. And then again went back with that Volair brush and just blended where those two shadows meet. Then I used the MAC brush here and picked up Wanderlust, which is this deep green shade over here, and put that under the lower lash line. And then used, excuse me, then used the Volair brush again and just buffed that edge out with no additional product. Then I just used that MAC brush again, just kind of ran it over the back of my hand just to get off any additional dark eyeshadow that's on there, and used that to pick up the shade Breakaway, which is this shimmery cream color here, and put that into the inner corner and then along the brow bone as well. For eyeliners, there are two that I would replace. One is a brown pencil liner. This one's from Makeup Forever. They don't make this variety anymore, but it doesn't matter. Just a brown pencil liner. I think they're very versatile. I prefer brown in the waterline most times because it's just a little bit softer for day-to-day wear. And it's also great if you're doing like a low makeup look, just to use that on the upper lashes instead of a liquid liner. So for this eye look, I use it in the lower waterline. And then for liquid liner, there's a number that I really, really like. Like, I love the Fenty Fly Liner, but the one that I would replace first is from Stila. This is the Stay All Day with the micro tip. And I like this one because it's just so small and precise, so it's great if I'm doing a low makeup look. I can still line the lashes and get a little bit more extra dimension, I guess, to my eyes without them really looking lined per se, but I can also use it to do a winged liner if that's the look that I'm going for. So for this look, I'm just lining it without a wing because I'm filming while I do this, and filming wings is just problematic. So here we go. For mascara, I just recently discovered this, and I'm amazed that it has rocketed to the top spot in my drawer as quickly as it has. It has replaced the Milk Makeup Kush Mascara, which was in the original roster of things I would replace, but this is the one I would go for now. This is the Unlimited Mascara from L'Oreal. I mentioned it in my new release video for December 2nd. I hate the packaging. I think it's ridiculous, but I love the product, so I can get past the packaging. Just for shits and giggles, here, let's just bump it in. Okay, you should be able to see it from there. No mascara. Like, it's a pretty mascara. I love how lifted it is. I love how separated everything is. There's a lot of dimension here. Like, you can see each individual lash on the lower line. But it's a beautiful mascara. Take my word for it, it's beautiful. The shirt has a button on the back of it. And buttons and curly hair do not a winning combination make. I keep ripping hairs out of my head every time I try to move it out of my way. For brows, I have fairly full brows as it is, but they don't always point in the direction that I would like them to. So they do need a little bit of assistance in terms of taming their unruly nature. Again, this is a new product for me, but I love it, and it's again from L'Oreal. This is the Unbelieve a Brow. I haven't actually used it today because I used it yesterday, so I don't need to use it today. That's how good this is. I find it'll last like solid 2 days with my brows. I think if you had really sparse brows, you may want to touch it up, but I just love this stuff. If you didn't watch my new release video, first of all, what are you even doing with your life? Just kidding. I'll show you anyways. So it's just a doe foot applicator here. You run it along into your brows, and then it comes with a dual-ended little spoolie and whatnot. So it comes in the same package. So it has an angled flat brush here. You just brush it through, I guess, so that it's all even. And then you put your brows into place with the spoolie, and they lock in without being crunchy. It doesn't smudge off. And like I said, for me at any rate, it lasts a good 2 to 3 days. So can't go wrong there. So the last thing then would be lips. And again, this should come as no surprise, but the item that I would replace first would be my Fenty Gloss Bomb. Does this one even have a name? This is the original one. Fenty Glow. There it is. This gets a ton of mileage in my collection. Like I've used half of it since about, I guess, April when I got it. And I will repurchase it for sure. They're coming out with a pink one as well, and that is on my wish list. It's just a universally flattering gloss. It lasts a long time on the lips. It's moisturizing. It doesn't slip around. It doesn't get sticky. You don't get those like strings of disgustingness that sometimes happen. And it's just beautiful. It smells nice. Like there's nothing negative that I can say about it. I love it. So typically speaking, I would use a setting spray, but that did not make it into my top 10. If you've been keeping track, I have listed 9 makeup products, so there is one other thing. It's not really a makeup product. It could be considered skincare, I guess, but I'm going to include it in here because it's my video and I can. And my makeup routine would not be complete without it, because at the end of the day, all of this has to come off. And the easiest way for me to get it off is to use these wipes. These are the Kirkland Wipes that I can get at Costco. I get 150 of them for $20. It comes with 4 packs of 30 and 2 packs of 15. I keep the 15s in my purse so that if I am out and about, say at Sephora or Shoppers Drug Mart, and I'm swatching things, I have wipes readily available to me. Or if the kids are being kids and they're sticky, like they just spontaneously get sticky, I swear, I have wipes available and I can just clean them up. So these are fantastic. I love that it has, this one's not opened yet, but it has like the little flap, and everything stays really nice and saturated in here. It doesn't dry out, so that by the end of the packet, there's just these like shriveled, dried Kleenex type things. They stay fully saturated from beginning to end, and they're fantastic. They don't make my skin sting. and they're very effective at removing the makeup without leaving like a film or that like gross feeling on your skin that some of them do. They're fantastic, so I would definitely replace those. So there we have it. Those are the products that I would want to repurchase first if I was to lose all of the makeup that I have. I'm going to wrap it up here, and I'm going to conclude once again by just appealing to you. If at all you can give even $5, it's not going to go unnoticed. It's not going to go unappreciated. These are good people. Like Ashley is she's a fantastic mom. She always puts her kids first. Her kids are just amazing. I remember watching a little video of her daughter Madison when I think she was just 7 at the time. She got a goldfish. She came home from school and there was a goldfish waiting for her. And this little girl just sobbing tears of joy. She was just so happy for this. These are the kind of kids that they are. They've just got hearts of gold. And on that note, I'm going to end it here. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and I will see you in my next video. Until then, just be a decent human being. Bye for now.